Right, so we're here with Richie at the PSP stand, NAMM 2023. What have you got to show for us this year?
So I got a session from a San Diego punk band called Cardboard Boxer. It's brand new. You guys are probably the first person, well, you're the first person ever to hear the record. We literally just mixed it over the weekend. And Anthony from PSP sent me over their new Lexicon delay, which is honestly really like amazing. Back maybe 10 years ago, I had an actual unit, and this plugin sounds richer. So what I'd like to show you guys is the Lexicon on the vocal. So it really, because these guys are like a punk band, they didn't want an overproduced vocal, but the singer, as you're going to hear, he has a fairly distinct, he has a really distinct personality when he sings, and I wanted to emphasize that. So the first thing I said, I was like, okay, we're going to do some doubles, and they were just like, no doubles. And I'm like, just give it a chance, you know, you're going to like it. And what I did was I took the double that we recorded, and instead of using the direct double, I ran that as the delayed side chain into the Lexicon, and then so you're not hearing the direct, you're just hearing the Lexicon change it sonically and then time delay it. So
great.
I'm going to solo these vocals. And we'll listen to the verse.
Sure.
Now this is the vocals alone. There's going to be no double. It's just lead vocal.
When you think about the time you thought you were feeling fine.
The guy has a lot of personality when he sings. So here's the double. I'm going to play the double, and we're going to keep the 42 on bypass. So we can hear what the double is doing.
When you think about the time
And this is something
you thought you were feeling fine.
because they're punk rock and they don't like effects. They want everything to be as raw as possible. And I'm like, dude, come on, we got to fucking... Am I allowed to curse? I'm a New York boy, so I'm going to curse a little bit.
That's fine.
I had to magnify that personality, you know? Even because I'm punk rock too, but, you know, when I hear, as a producer and as an engineer, when you hear something good, you want to broadcast that out to the audience because it's just going to make the song more compelling for them. And at the end of the day, you know, punk rock mentality, you got to stand by it, but you also want to have your audience to have the most enriched experience when you're listening.
Yeah.
So let's turn on the Lexicon, and again, I'm using the lead vocal as a side chain, and then there's some saturation under the hood happening here, and this is something that PSP put in. This is not something that you could do with the actual unit.
I see.
And their A to D clipping modeling in this is just like so rich. It's very thick. So not only am I getting some extra equalization because of the sonic footprint that this thing has, I'm also getting that delay, which will make his voice stand out and really identifiable. And we all know that that's the point of a record, especially for a lead vocalist. You got to identify the vocalist immediately. So now with the PSP 42 on,
When you think about the time you thought you were feeling fine.
so let's just listen to this part in the mix too. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mute the doubles, and we'll hear it the way we all originally intended it, like kind of a stripped down, punky vibe. And you're going to know right away there's something missing. On the second part, let's bring in the doubles that are going through the PSP 42. This really created a signature tone on his vocal, and a lot of people, like when they're talking about, especially like punk rock or alternative, anything, indie rock. The first thing that comes to mind, guitar tone, drum tone, bass tone. Your vocalist is your lead person. They're going to be the first person that the audience is going to recognize before the guitar tone, unless you're another engineer. Like, I don't know about you or anybody that's watching. Like, when I listen to a record, I always hone into bass and drums because I'm a bassist and my first instruments was a drummer. But we're talking about the vast majority of music listeners that want to listen for pleasure, that want to listen for some type of emotional gratification. If there's a singer in the record, they're communicating to the audience. So we have to make them identifiable. And just that one plugin, I didn't really do too much with the EQ or anything. All the vocal processing is really pretty standard. I take good care when I'm recording, and I don't like to do too much work in the mix if I'm doing the recording. But as you can hear from what the PSP42 did, it just brought it to life.
Absolutely.
And for that, it's worth its weight, Yeah. That's what a plugin should do. And another great thing, this is the reason why I like to fuck with, bleep that out, man.
Just
bleep it out.
We'll bleep it out.
The reason I like to use PSP plugins is because they're very musical. I'm an analog guy. I'm the last analog man on earth. You're standing next to an endangered species, but also I'm very young. So the plugins that I do like to use, I don't really give a shit about the analog versus digital thing. I like to use analog equipment because I grew up on it. It's fun for me, and that's pretty much it. And it also sounds great. But I'm hyper aware when a plugin is as musically interactive as a piece of analog equipment.
Yeah.
And that's the magic about analog is, it reacts to your song in time. That's the whole thing. Voltage goes in, it sends the music through, and because of the capacitance, it's resisting in time. I don't know how the fuck they did it, but when the PSP stuff, it reacts to the music, and it gives you that extra amount of this, it's just a compelling feeling. You want to listen further.
Yeah.
I'm Richie Beretta, and I approve this message. I don't know what to tell you.
Thank you very much, Richie. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, man.